So, Season 4 Reloaded is here for Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone. Today we're breaking down what you need to know and what all changed. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below on what you think of these changes made with Season 4 Reloaded. If you think the Season 4 Reloaded update lives up to any expectations or whatever the case may be. Drop your thoughts down below, but if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, X-Defiant, and other FPS content. I'd love to have in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. We just launched the limited run of the Espresso Bundle, but more on that a little later. For now, let's jump into it. So firstly, we do know, of course, of all the content we've already touched on, the premier stuff here that's been marketed. The new camo challenges for the seasonal refresh, Vondo Waterfront as a new 6v6 map, the new MX Guardian shotgun, the boys crossover and thematic changes, the new raid, the new Vondo BR experience, which is actually the only traditional BR map that we have this week. Al Mazrah is removed temporarily to make way for this new Vondo BR and the new Gulag, but let's talk about some of these other changes, some more technical stuff here like weapon balancing and general changes to gameplay elsewhere around these experiences. Firstly, for weapon tuning, there was a preface to this section that said, at the launch of Season 4, weapons in Warzone saw significant change to their damage profiles, which resulted in an overall increase to the duration of engagements. With Season 4 Reloaded, we are placing a bigger emphasis on accuracy in gunfights. To achieve this, every weapon has had its Warzone damage profiles adjusted to fit into this new balanced paradigm, with additional attention given to the most dominant weapons. While this change will result in a wider range to time to kill values, meaning some weapons will be able to kill faster when fired more accurately and slower when not, it allows weapons the necessary space to feel more distinct and promotes an ecosystem where each weapon class can excel. So use that as a base for what's upcoming, but let's start out with the SMGs. The ISO 45 saw an overall nerf here to this where it reduced the close range damage, it reduced the headshot damage only in Modern Warfare 2, and increased the hip spread. The Vaznev 9K also saw a nerf where it reduced the close to mid damage distance. Assault rifles, the Kastov 762, saw a reduction in the headshot damage in Modern Warfare 2 only, but increased the time to ADS as well, so a nerf there. The Kastov 74U saw a reduction in headshot damage in Modern Warfare 2 only and an increase to the hipfire spread, a nerf overall. The TAC 56 saw a reduction to the headshot damage in Modern Warfare 2 only. Shotguns, we saw the KV broadside increase the mid-range damage in Modern Warfare 2 only. The Bryson 800, again, both only in Modern Warfare 2, saw a reduction to the damage head, upper torso, legs, and arms, as well as a reduction to the mid-damage range slightly. The Bryson 890 in Modern Warfare 2 only saw a reduction to the damage to the arms and an increased damage to the lower torso, but in both Warzone and Modern Warfare 2 saw an increase to that ADS movement speed, so a slight buff to that, a net positive 2-to-1. The Expedite 12 saw an increase to the damage to the head and upper torso in Modern Warfare 2 only, and a reduction in the ADS time, as well as a reduction in the hip spread, so overall buffs there as well. The Marksman rifles, we saw the Tempest Torrent in Modern Warfare 2 only get a reduction to the close to mid damage range. We saw a reduction of the neck locational damage, and then overall in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone saw an increase to the time to ADS. The EBR-14 saw a reduction of the ADS movement speed and a reduction in hip strafe speed. The Lockwood Mark II saw a reduction in time to ADS and movement increases, and the SAB-60 saw a movement increase. So a lot of this really comes down to what that preface is in regards to existing attributes, but the weird thing is that they didn't specify any actual damage profiles for both Warzone and Modern Warfare 2. There were some that had some additional changes for Modern Warfare 2 only, but I would have loved to see that expanded upon a little further based off of that preface. But anyways, moving along further, we saw some general bug fixes. The biggest one here to me is the fact that we saw an issue where the gameplay tooltips would turn on after restarting your application every single time. Didn't matter how many times you turn it off, it would for the last season entirely, a whole seasonal cycle introduced with Season 3 Reloaded. It would turn back on even if you turned them off every single time. And there was also a subsequent bug beyond that, that if you went in-game trying to turn them off, it was a 50-50 chance that it would break your entire controller input. At least that's how it was on PC. So on paper, this has been fixed. Fingers crossed it actually has, because there's been a number of times with a ton of bugs that this has happened, and on paper it's fixed, but not really. So that is among a plethora of different changes here in global bug fixes. And one additional thing that was mentioned here in the patch notes that isn't necessarily a bug fix, but a change to multiplayer and the core gameplay, is that Santa Senya Border Crossing, one of the worst maps, I think, because of the design that everything is explosive, that's been changed actually. The vehicles in Santa Senya Border Crossing will now no longer explode. They can be damaged, but they will not kill players, which is definitely nice. We saw a whole host of different fixes for Warzone and gameplay changes as well, so let's jump into those. Of course, we do know that Vondel is going to get its new Battle Royale experience with the new Gulag. That is something of note, of course, but beyond that, we see the new map rotation feature, which I was actually really surprised at the duration here of this rotation. It stated a 15-minute in-game timer has been added to the playlist menu that now indicates when specified resurgence modes switch between Ashika Island and Vondel. Now, they did mention they're going to closely monitor the feature and may look to expand it in the future, so we'll see how that works out in terms of if it's an adjustment to the time frame or everything like that. But I mean, 15 minutes is a lot quicker than I expected, but also in theory, that's actually pretty nice, because if you miss the window and you don't want to play, say, Ashika Island, that's something you don't have to wait for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. You can instead just wait what would be the duration of a single game and jump right back in. And for the most part, a lot of the times you'll end up being able to finish a match and then going right back into that same queue if you wanted to, where it's about like 10 to 15 minutes for a resurgence map overall. So I mean, that's something that is definitely nice as well. Now, the firing range also had a quality of life feature here, which I do quite like. I still think that the firing range absolutely needs a lot more to it to be an expanded and actually comprehensive firing range. But players now have the ability to apply 1 to 3 armor plates or none at all to the target dummies that are downrange. So that's pretty cool to be able to test out TTK and stuff like that for Warzone specific things as well. One additional thing that was mentioned here for Warzone gameplay overall is now in all maps and all modes, we have different style plate carriers. Now, if that's something that does sound a little weird, if you've played DMZ, you might be familiar with these. These are still all going to be 3-plate armors, so you're not going to have any major special benefit like you get with the tempered plate, but now we have the medic, comms, and stealth vests added into Battle Royale, not just DMZ. The medic plate carriers are a common armor plate that increases the speed at which players are able to revive down squad mates and increases the speed at which health begins to regenerate. Comms is something that's an uncommon plate carrier that increases the effectiveness of UAVs by showing the enemy player's bearings on the minimap. And stealth is a rare armor plate vest that protects the player from UAVs and other targeted devices, meaning that if you find that, ghost isn't necessary, so you can end up taking something like a quick fix or a bird's eye or something like that if you want, basically giving you a free ghost perk just based off of your vest. So that's something that was in DMZ. I am not sure how that's going to affect the ecosystem in Battle Royale. Maybe I come to love it, but right now on paper, I'm skeptical. I'm not sure how I feel about that one just yet. In Al Mazrah Battle Royale, again, not available this week, but coming back later next week and beyond, we'll see the cash drop public event introduced here, where this is going to spawn 3 planes that will drop a combined total of 12 crates across the map. Each will contain 10,000 in cash and between 2 to 4 randomized armor plate carriers. This will happen between the 3rd and 5th circles, so nice for regains here with that. In Vondel, on all modes, the personal redeploy drone is going to be available here. We'll also see the signals intelligence contract introduced, where players can track down 3 phones and the potential of 5,000 cash for completing it. The occupation scan public event is going to be returning here with this. And then all maps for Resurgence, we're going to see the communal stations public event, where once Resurgence is disabled, a series of deployable buy stations will drop onto the field at random for any players to use. So offering up more buy stations to potentially buy back down to squad mates that are out of the fight. Further adjustments include armor and ammunition boxes, where lethal and tactical equipment will now refresh as they do with normal ammunition, where you'll get those extra stacks as well. Armor and ammunition boxes will now also drop additional items that do not fit into the active loadout slots to the ground, allowing players to choose and maybe redistribute how they want their inventory to work out. Redeployment elevation has been changed and reduced by 9%, stopping at circle 8 to remain constant for the remainder of the match. The gas mask animation has been something that has been fixed once again. We fixed this in Warzone 1, but for whatever reason it came back in Warzone 2 here. But the gas mask animation that automatically starts when players are airborne will be interrupted if the player decides to pull their parachute. So you will not end up having to pull that mask down first and then try and get your parachute out, because oftentimes you'll end up dying before you reach that bottom. The bird's eye perk, also when using UAV in combination with bird's eye, players can end up getting the effect of ghosted players revealed to them. So definitely nice that maybe offers a bit more to bird's eye, maybe making it viable, but we'll see how that works out. Medicine cabinets now reduce the number of stims that spawn from the medicine cabinet down to 1. Previously it was 2. And then in Vondel, across all modes, we saw a cash increase where the minimum amount the player can pick up is 500, which is up from 100, making regains again on Vondel a lot nicer. We have a bunch of UI and UX adjustments as well for quality of life. We have the armor plate count available to see at a quick glance now. Your backpack will have a notification if it's full or not. Buyback values and what players will bring back into the fight when redeploying is now there as well. The Champions Quest rewards now show in the after action report. We have a new kill cam recap where eliminated players will now see a summary of the enemy players that contributed to their death, not just being the one solo, but also multiple, that being the number of shots that made contact per player. Also something that, if I'm not mistaken, was in Modern Warfare 2019, maybe Warzone, I can't remember off the top of my head. Resurgence improvements, we saw the spectating interface is a little bit better, new ask to be cautious ping that players can activate, and better notification that a squad mate will be redeploying on your UI. Beyond that, we see a number of different bug fixes, but that's about it for Warzone overall. Gameplay for DMZ saw an adjustment as well, where they mentioned that the Temp V field upgrade is a lot more rare, and also some effects like the charge jump are not available in DMZ. There are some adjustments to the plea for help and assimilation, but probably one of the biggest changes here that I'm sure a lot of players, if you want to go for just missions overall and that want to be passive and not really take it to the PvP level, is that there's going to be now a new sort of bounty enacted for players hunting players, where it's stated if a player or a squad kill too many players in DMZ, that high kill individual player will be issued a warning. If they kill another player, they can expect a bounty on their head, where enemy operators in the exclusion zone will receive intel on your position to secure a reward upon contract. Basically, everyone in the match will be able to see you as a bounty available for everyone in their squad to be awarded for $10,000. This bounty is not active in Building 21 or Koshi Complex, just Al Mazrah as well as Ashika Island and Vondel, but that's still pretty risky, so that is interesting to see how that's going to affect the PvP element of DMZ. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy, I'm sure a lot of people won't be too happy. But anyways, we saw some bug fixes beyond that, but outside of that, that is the update for Season 4 Reloaded and everything you need to know. So that said, we're going to keep you up to date with everything in regards to Easter eggs, guides, and tutorials for the new camos, secret unlocks in the raid, and all that kind of stuff. So stick it here on the channel. But for now, that's the update and what we had on hand for Season 4 Reloaded. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you like the changes that are made here on a gameplay level, not just necessarily the content introduced? What are the case driver thoughts below? But before we wrap everything up, make sure you check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage to check out the Espresso bundle. I've said it before, most comfortable, lightweight, and durable frames on the market. I love these guys. If you guys want to pick up the Espresso bundle, it's something that comes with the Inferno frames, a microfiber carry pouch with the cleaning cloth, both branded with the channel's artwork, and a polarized magnetic sun clip. So pretty comparable to a standard bundle you'd end up getting on their site, but just a way to support the channel a little further and get some branded content here at that. So if you guys are at all interested, links in the description below. Totally up to you, but make sure you use code Espresso to get 10% off your order if you want to check that out. Anyways, beyond that, that's what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts once again down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, X-Defiant, and anything FPS related. We got you covered on the channel. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.